In this video, we're going to factor and solve higher degree quadratic equations. Now, what does higher degree mean? Well, the degree of an equation is its highest exponent or order exponent of x. What's the highest exponent of x? 1, 2, 3, 3. So really, in this video, I'm just going to do very specific circumstances. And we still have only 3 terms, so it's still quadratic, but there's an extra x multiplied by all of these. See where I'm going? So, first thing we got to do is we got to factor it. And we got to use pretty much all of our factoring knowledge to pull this off. First of all, we can't just factor it like, we can't just, do our normal quadratic factoring with it like this, with the x cubed and an x there. We need to do the simple things first. What's the simplest part of factoring? GCF, greatest common factor, right? What's the greatest common factor of all these terms? Well, there's only one thing they all have in common, an x, right? So we can just take out that x and divide everything by x. Now, I also like to have this first term to be positive, so we're also going to take out a negative 1. So divide everything by negative x, and you're left with 3x squared. All the signs change because we're taking out that negative 1, right? 5x, just 1x left, and 2. With me so far? All right, now, our leading coefficient is not 1. We can't divide these by 3, so we can't just GCF that out. We got to use the grouping method. Remember what the grouping method was? Take AC, multiply them together. What's A? 3, very good. It's that first coefficient. C is the last coefficient, 2. 3 times 2 is 6. All right, now B is what? 5. And we need factors of AC that add up to 5. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. So we're going to use 2 and 3. And what do we do in grouping? We don't just go straight to x plus whatever times x plus whatever. We got to first separate that bx term into factors that we just found, right? It doesn't matter which order you put them in. You could put 3x plus 2x plus 2, and you get the same answer. All right. So now let me just change this parentheses to a bracket, because we don't like to have multiple parentheses in the same thing unless you're entering this in your calculator, fancy calculator. We have brackets, and then on the inside we have parentheses, and we GCF both of these separately. So what's the GCF here? 3 and 2 still don't divide by the same thing, but we do have an x there. So don't forget your negative x out here. And we factor out an x. And we get 3x plus 2, right? And there is no GCF there, so it's just 3x plus 2. Oh, all right. Now, here's the part where we take out the common factor of this bracket now. This whole thing has a greatest common factor, right? The 3x plus 2. And there's an understood 1 right there. So we GCF out the 3x plus 2. And we're left with another factor, x plus 1. And there's the negative x. And we factored it all out. But we're not done yet, are we? We got to set everything equal to 0. Every individual factor. I don't know why I put parentheses there. And then solve for x in each one of them. Divide by negative 1, you get 0. Okay. Subtract 2. And then divide by 3. Right? Negative 2/3. Okay. Subtract 1 there. All right. So x equals 0, x equals negative 2/3, and x equals negative 1. Still not done yet. We want to check our answer, right? Our answer. How can we have 3 answers in one problem? Well, the order, the degree of our equation tells us how many answers we're going to have. Isn't that crazy? Or we could possibly have. When you actually graph this out and you replace the 0 with a y, or y equals blah, 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 you get like a wavy line that crosses the x-axis 3 times. That's why we have x equals this, this, and this. Sometimes it'll still do 3 waves, but it won't cross the x-axis at one point, so it'll have 1 or 2 less answers, maybe, or even 0 answers. Anyway, that's why we have 3 answers. So if you have an equation with degree of 4, you can expect to get 4 answers. Just good thing to know. But we need to check our answers. So first we plug in 0, right? 3 times 0 cubed minus 5 times 0 squared minus 2 times 0 equals 0. Well, 0, 0, 0. 0 minus 0 minus 0 does equal 0, so check. All right. Let's do a harder one. Negative 2/3 cubed minus 5 is negative 2/3 squared minus 2 times negative 2/3. Wow. Oof. Well, what's negative 2 cubed? Negative 8, right? 3 cubed? 27, yeah, because 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27, right? I'll multiply that by negative 3. Negative 2/3 cubed is positive 4/9. And then negative 2 times negative 2/3 is positive 4/3. Okay. Oh, out of fractions. Don't worry about it. When multiplying fractions, we can cross cancel, can't we? Divided by 3 is 1. Divided by 3 is 9. Negative times a negative is a positive, so we're left with 8/9 minus, okay, well, can we cross cancel here? No, so we just got to go with it. 5 times 4 is 20/9. Okay. And we want common denominators, right? So let's multiply this by 3/3. So we get 12/9. Gives us a common denominator. 8 minus 20 guess what? Negative 12 ninths plus 12 ninths does in fact equal 0. So that is an answer. Let's try negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 cubed minus 5 times negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 equals 0. Negative 1 cubed is negative 1 times negative 3. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. What do we get? Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3 minus 5 plus 2. Negative 2 plus 2. And that is true. So we found all three answers and we checked to make sure that they were correct. All right, let's do another one for practice, and because I obviously enjoy doing this. First step, GCF, right? Factor out that x. Anything else we can factor out? Nope, just the x. With x squared plus 11x plus 10. 0. Do we have to do the whole grouping thing? No, because we have a 1 here in our leading coefficient. That's a little easier than last time. What multiplies to get 10 but adds to get 11? Well, 10 times 1, 10 plus 1. 10 times 1 gives you 10, 10 plus 1 gives you 11. So we use 10 and 1, right? Okay, x plus 10 and x plus 1. Everything's positive. I like this. What do we got? Now we just set everything equal to 0, right? X plus 10 equals 0, and x plus 1 equals 0. 10, x equals negative 10, and x equals 0. That one's already done. But we haven't checked it yet. That reminded me. Let's put a 0 in here. 0 cubed plus 11 times 0 squared plus 10 times 0. Anything times 0 is 0, so we're just 0 plus 0 plus 0. Well, that was easy. So x does in fact equal 0. Check that one off the list. Negative 10. Negative 10 cubed plus 11 times negative 10 squared plus 10 times negative 10. Okay. Negative 10 cubed. Negative 1,000. Oof. 10 squared is 100 times 11. So that's actually 1,100. And it's positive, right? Because it's squared. Minus 100. Okay, well, negative 1,000 plus 1,100 is 100. Minus 100 is 0. So negative 10 is definitely an answer. And 0. What about that negative 1? Negative 1 cubed plus 11 negative 1 squared plus 10 times negative 1. What do we got? Negative 1 plus 10 minus 10. Wait a minute. What do we got here? Did I do this right? Oh, no, I did not. That is an 11. Freak me out. Always make sure You copied it down correctly. Negative 1 squared is positive 1 times 11 is 11. Negative 1 plus 11 is 10 minus 10 equals 0. So that is checked. We got all three of our answers.